Welcome, everyone. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. This is the third episode that we're recording about Mythos. We recorded an intro last week and a little bit longer of an interview to dive into this new methodology that Domi and I are bringing together. And today we're going to dive into the body a little bit more. And Domi, do you want to start?
Yes, um, I've been thinking like what would be one of the key important things to convey about what we're going to teach through Mythos. And I think I want to start by talking about the body being a micro of the macro, right? It's no longer, it's not mythical thinking, actually. Modern science shows that the pattern repeat across scales between the macro and the micro, and that in biology, in physics, the body is not separate from nature, right? It's nature expresses at a human scale. So if you're willing to accept that the body is a micro of the macro, you have to accept that inherent in the body are incredible power. And one of the things essential to this work is to reconnect a human being to the power inherent within the body, which for an actor, obviously, is so essential because the instrument of an actor is the body. So let me talk about how what happens when you access your body by reclaiming inherent powers that are not taught to us to have that kind of relationship with ourselves. So if you think about Jung, if we take Jung as an example, Jung, which has been used in a lot of different methodology for acting for good reason, right? Jung mapped the unconscious through the psyche, the unconscious mind, through images, through symbols, through archetype. What I do is I enter directly the unconscious through the body, that the body itself as an unconscious realm that is vast, that is organized, that is not chaotic. And it has structure. It's organized by laws. And when you learn to relate, to change your relationship with your body by learning and discovering the power inherent of your body, because your body is a micro of the macro, you have a direct access to that realm of the unconscious within the body. That's one thing. When the actor learns to connect to those principles that are it creates a fundamental shift. And let me be specific. When you have a character, when an actor is playing a character, what he thinks, what he feels, and how he acts is part of the conscious life of the character, like any other human being. But the body carries the deeper movement, the deeper truth underneath, right? We call that the subtext. So in a human being, the deeper movement is often in contradiction, right? You might act from anger consciously with your thinking, but underneath there is pain. When you reclaim those principles and those laws in the body, that become effortless. The living contradiction between the conscious intention of the character and the unconscious realm exists simultaneously. This is one of the most, I think, important thing about what will be taught through methods. The effortlessness,
Yeah.
play dimensionally a character where the inner reality, the unconscious, is transmitted, right, to the spectator, is seen, is witnessed, while the character is living his conscious reality, that the two of them will exist at the same time. Because when the body is aligned with its own unconscious intelligence, the subtext is no longer constructed, it's inevitable. It emerges through every moment. So, I really believe that this is where great acting is. This is the truth that I think every actor aims to realize and to embody, to be capable of embodying those two things at once. So it makes me think of
Yeah.
some example, like if I think of Hannibal Lecter, the character when Anthony
Yeah.
Hopkins played it. I mean, that's a perfect example of the way he behaved on the outside was polite, refined, almost elegant, actually, and very little movement. And yet, underneath, you could feel what? Violence, threat, danger, something almost animalistic in contradiction of the behavior. Context versus the conscious reality of expressing the character. He was doing what I'm talking about from his own being. And methods will be a vehicle to teach actors to be able to access that. Another character, let's see, what was it? The movie, was it Blue? Yeah, where Kate Blanchett played in Blue Jasmine. I don't know if you remember that movie. I mean, I'm using example,
Oh, yes.
incredible acting, where
Yeah.
she presents sophistication, superiority, social control. But then within that, you see that her nervous system is unraveling the contradiction underneath. You see the panic. You see the flicker through the eyes. Subtext. She's holding the facade and it's in contradiction to the inner life. Well, when we will teach actors to connect to their body in a way that becomes a point of access that is inevitable, I believe everything, the benefit for an actor is exponentially.
So, to add to that, when we're talking about the body being a micro of the macro, part of my work in relation to that is how I would connect the person to their environment. So, if I'm taking them to the deepest aspects of their soul and their senses, then a part of that obviously then would connect them to their environment and how they resonate with their environment. So if through their soul and the imagination, they're connecting to the earth, the sun, the sky, feeling those things within their bodies, to the extent that they're really resonating with it, with their environment, then it creates a much more powerful soul field around them. So it can, like, in a sense, in a scene, it could just be a look or a walk, something very simple, but they're speaking words because there's such an interaction and an empathy with their environment. So they're speaking so much to what the environment is giving back to them. So, for example, this is the difference between, like a good actor really showing you and reflecting let's say, the grief of the environment around them. If there's snow and cold outside and it's reflecting their grief inside, and you can really feel how connected they are to it, versus a really bad piece of acting where someone is walking through a blizzard, but it feels like they're on a beach. And so you can sense where there is this disconnection. And I always love to think about one of my favorite scenes in Pride and Prejudice, the Keira Knightley version with
Mm.
Matthew McFadden, I think you say. There's this wonderful scene near the end. I think it's the very last scene where he's just walking through a field. So he's not doing anything really. He's just walking. And they keep it going just a little bit longer than you would expect. But he's emanating so much of his soul in that moment. His soul field is huge, and you can really feel his consciousness and how he's expanding that all the way through the field. And he's walking towards love. And he has this beautiful, masculine presence and energy that's so tangible. And I believe they even did a survey to ask women like how they would whether they would shorten that scene or not. And I think not a single woman said that they would want to shorten that scene, because it's such a powerful moment that speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's
So
archetypical. This man walking in this field becomes
yeah,
an archetype where we look and we see the lover.
yeah, exactly.
So, wow, that makes, yeah, complete sense. That sensorily, by connecting a person to their soul, they relate to their environment, and their environment relates to them character in a way that amplifies what the character is trying to convey, basically,
Yeah, yeah,
which is another form of subtext in a way.
yes, absolutely. And yeah, that's really where, resonance comes to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
Making the unseen seen.
Right, exactly. And having that, we talked about that impeccable relationship to the unseen realms and the body as an instrument. So the individual resonating with the whole and the
And
impact of that.
the camera has the magic that it sees, it captures that those subtext, the
Yes.
invisible. It does capture it. That's the magic.
Okay, so let's end the episode there and stay tuned and watch the next episode where we're going to be going deeper into magnetism and charisma and how to activate that core glow within. Yeah,
As an
thank
actor,
you.
essential.